with Randy Meadows, singer-songwriter, guitar player.
Yeah.
You're a Texas-born singer-songwriter
I
too.
sure am.
And now, what quantifies or qualifies someone as a singer-songwriter versus any other thing, a country artist, a rocker, whatever you would?
To me, a singer-songwriter, of course, they both include both the deals, the songwriting and the singing. But to be able to write the song and then perform it in a way that would be appealing to listeners, like a performance. I know a lot of songwriters that aren't that good at performing. They'll write the songs and they don't really perform them well, and that's where they hire out, people to demo them for them. But when you're a singer-songwriter, you're able to write the song, and that night, if you can remember the words, you can perform them at the venue.
Right.
So
and I've seen you a few times, and usually it's with a band, or the few times I have seen you. Is that your preference?
Well, at one time I would say that, but over the years, the performing was just me and a guitar, especially if I'm doing, songs that I've written. They seem to come across better, because you want people to listen deep and understand. Sometimes a band will be more of the production value of that song. Sometimes the song just needs to be heard stripped down. So I do enjoy just me and a guitar, me and the fiddle player, something real sparse.
Right. And your music is what people would describe as pretty much straight up country and western, or would you call it that?
Well, it's hard to say because country has changed so much. I would say 25 years ago, it'd be considered country, but it'd be considered more pop. Now, everything changed so much to where country is pop. So my stuff kind of folkish, popish, contemporary country. It just, pretty much I would say country.
Okay. And where do you get the inspiration for most of your songs?
Oftentimes people say, did you write that about your divorce, or did you write that about this or that? And sometimes you do get inspired by your own personal life, but sometimes I can just see maybe an old couple in a restaurant sitting eating, and I'm thinking, wonder what their story is, and my mind will make up something, and oftentimes that may result into me writing a song just for that. So inspiration is all around you. The great Ronnie Mack, songwriter, he said, all you got to do is open the door in your brain and stuff will walk in. And that's pretty much what you got to do. You got to open your brain up, let things come in.
Nice. And do you, when that inspiration hits you, do you immediately go to your guitar and start writing, or do you have a set time in a day?
Well, lightning strikes at any particular time. I've wrote songs, or I've come up with the initial hooks or ideals in the middle of a gig, sitting at the bar and thinking, wow, matter of fact, somewhere between hell and a honky tonk. One of those nights where it's like, well, it was an open mic and it just went on forever and I didn't feel good, and I was sitting at the bar and somebody says, what's wrong? I said, I don't know, I think I'm stuck between somewhere between hell and a honky tonk. The guy says, man, that's a good idea, right? You ought to write that. I said, yeah, that is a pretty good idea. It could be at a funeral. It could be in a grocery store. It could be sitting there with my first cup of coffee with my guitar. Oh, I thought of something. So you never know when lightning strikes at any particular time.
Right. Well, and looking at your website, I guess it's your new website. You've got a blog there, and there's a great story about your evolution into music through your dad. Tell me again about that how that all came to
Well,
be.
that kind of came about. Of course, I was 19 at the time, and I didn't really know my father. Knew of him, didn't really know what caliber of musician. Everybody said, oh, he's excellent, excellent. But I didn't really study into his life. Well, when I did get the opportunity to meet him, I just, songs I'd been listening to, for 10 years, I found out he was playing guitar on. He was playing with Willie Nelson and stuff, and sleep at the wheel.
This is Bucky Meadows.
Bucky Meadows, my father. And as I get to know him, I'm all of a sudden introduced, and next thing I know, I'm sitting in a room with, Leon Russell and Willie. It's like I'm so far removed from where I was a year ago, you know, Dickie Betts and all these people I'm meeting, Mickey Newberry. I mean, just like every time we go anywhere, he was such a popular musician. Everybody knew him, and so he was always welcome into these situations, and he brought me along, and then there I was sitting like, wow. So that was pretty much the introduction, you know.
And that was about what year was that?
That was about 79, 80, during that time.
Do you think the music industry, I mean, you got to see it at a great time, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, really from the 60s through the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
and how does it compare now?
I would say the biggest comparison that differentiates the time is that pre-video time, it was pretty much you went up there with a song, a guitar, and you found somebody, a producer, that you say, listen to my songs, listen to me sing, and they could sign you right to a deal right then. We like your songs, we like the way you sound, we like, let's do it. Now, since the video era came about in the late 80s and the high budgets of producing and promoting an artist, now you can't just do that. You've got to have somebody standing there with a sack of money saying, yeah, how do you like him now? You know?
Right.
So, you know, it kind of makes it, you know, I think there's a lot of good talent now that's overlooked because of the way the industry has changed. But it's always changing, and you got your media of the YouTubes and the things, so people are getting their music out. Some say it's, you know, hurting, some say it's helping. I think anytime you can get your music out, it's going to help. It may not help your financial like you would think, you know. Of course, we'd like to be sitting in a big bus, you know, and making $20,000 a show and selling, you know, 500,000 albums. Sometimes you can't get that. Sometimes you got to, you know, put it on YouTube and let people like it and see what happens.
Well, you have a fairly optimistic attitude, it seems, generally speaking, talking about music and that very fact that it isn't like it used to be. Mm-hmm. How do you maintain your optimism? Like you just alluded to an open mic where you were kind of bummed out about this scene, but how do you stay optimistic?
It changes because you can be like, oh boy, man, I'm tired. I don't want to hear no more music. And then the next day you could hear Frank Sinatra singing a song and think, oh, I want to hear music again. Or you can hear Jerry Reed doing Amos Moses. Oh, I want to hear music again. Or you can hear one of your songwriter buddies that says, hey, what do you think about this song? And you go, oh, I want to hear music again. You know, so there's always music to inspire me. You know, and that's pretty much when I got into it, I thought, well, you know, if I don't really love the music, then I'm going to be disappointed in all probability. But if the music touches you and you love the music, I don't think you'll ever be disappointed. And that keeps me optimistic.
Nice. And so now getting back to, you're 19, you meet your dad, he's, get reacquainted with your father, and he's this sort of somewhat of a legend in certain circles,
sure.
And you decide to pick up the guitar. Did you feel a pressure to live up to expectations?
No, not at all. But you know, it was so far removed when I saw these wonderful musicians and meeting. You know, I just thought, oh wow, that's you know, I never dreamed I could even come close to that. So playing the guitar was just like, wow, it's like a new addiction. It was, you know, I'd sit there and then I started writing songs, and I figured it couldn't hurt nothing. I'm liking it. You know, a year later, me and some buddies put a band together, and that's what he told Willie. He says, yeah. He said, Willie, this is my boy Randy. You might remember him when he was a baby. He said, I gave him a guitar a year ago. Now he's making more money than me.
Nice, nice.
So it just kind of rolled into, just manifested from, nowhere. It kind of.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Randy, for being here. And
my pleasure.
Appreciate it. Would you play a song for us?
I sure will.
Awesome.
That's what I do
Thanks.
best.
All
right, thank you, Zach.
Great.
Drowning in deep whiskey, I'm soaked from my head to my toe. Drowning in deep whiskey, the current won't let me go. I never